Chapter 11. Ever After is pretty okay. Alright, it's probably our final chapter. November 4th now. Goodness gracious. Alright, hit me with it. The last few days had been a whirlwind, to say the least. After we contacted Velos, we were told to not go home until we had been debriefed on the incident, and everyone involved got a notation in their file. Spencer and I were both annoyed at the idea we even had a file in some weird agency. Fortunately, the agency had been able to juggle everyone's disappearance by fabricating a story about club activities and sleepovers. The story was that the Mysteries Club was having an event due to Halloween. I mean, technically it's true. I had to admit I was relieved to not be dealing with another media frenzy, not to mention the family drama. It seemed like Mom and Dad were none the wiser, which was one less thing to worry about. And the agency had, at the very least, mobilized to check out any remaining fairy activity in the woods. The fairy hill was gone completely. There was a deep scrape of earth where it had been, the remains of mushrooms littering the dirt. Apparently they burned the last of them and salted the ground just in case, but they were pretty sure that Iron Bell had forced the fairies to relocate. They never found a new hill in the area, though. They also confirmed the gate under the bridge properly closed at the conclusion of Samhain, so we'd made it out just in time. It wasn't like we defeated the big bad fairies. At best, we forced a retreat, and there was no guarantee they wouldn't be back, but we didn't have too much time to worry about that. Mom and Dad had left the day after Samhain because Grandpa fell ill and needed to be hospitalized again. I was a little scared when I first heard it, worried it was some kind of vengeance. Fairies did those kinds of things, after all. But it was just normal illness. And he was doing okay, but was in a hospital far enough away that Mom and Dad decided to stay overnight. It left Spencer and I alone to, shore up the defenses at home. Just in case. Spencer was getting used to the paranormal too. Sort of. At any rate, he had already pestered Velos with a million questions. I had a feeling that in the coming weeks, Velos would come to regret Spencer joining the club. As for me, well, I could never go back to being a normal human. The time I'd spent in Fairy made sure of that. And while Spencer hadn't exactly been mutated the way I had, spending a few more days in Fairy reawakened his ability to see them clearly too. It seemed like it undid whatever they'd done to his eye. Okay, I was like, please tell me we did get the eye thing sorted out in at least one route. Just one. Just once I wanted Brother to be able to see again. Nice. And though he wasn't exactly a full-fledged cryptic, he was considered a sensitive now. Someone with sight. Someone who could see too much for the secret to be kept from him anymore. And maybe with a bit of an affinity for magic too. We weren't sure on that one yet. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I sighed and leaned my elbows on the bridge railing, staring down at where the creek twisted away into the trees.
You look like you're thinking about something depressing.
He was across from me, leaning on his bike. Oh, no. It's not that. I was just thinking about Spencer, wishing that he didn't have to deal with all this, that he could live normally and all that. He patted the seat next to him, and I abandoned the rail to go sit beside him.
Things aren't terrible on this side of things.
I know. I've come to realize there are even some fae who aren't all bad.
Hilarious.
I wasn't just talking about you, though I somewhat acknowledge you are one of the more likable ones I've met.
Somewhat acknowledge. I think I need to kick you off my bike.
Kick me anywhere and I'm going to drag you down to my level and beat some sense into you. He chuckled softly.
So scary.
I reached for his hand, squeezing gently. When we were trying to find you, to rescue you and Spencer, some of the fairies we met, they weren't that bad. So I don't think it's that terrible to be part fae. And I don't think we're trapped between two worlds. I think we have the right to choose which one we want to be a part of without feeling like the other one is going to come out of the shadows and drag us in. and make us answer many, many stupid riddles. Ewan smiled slightly, reaching to tuck my hair behind my ear. Just because we're not normal humans, it doesn't mean we're not human. It doesn't mean we can't live as humans. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to try acting again. Soon? I mean, you've been showing up to class lately, and it hasn't been terrible.
I want that. I missed it so much. I think I might have the confidence to do it.
Just start with small parts first. Like, I mean, you'd make a great tree or something. Ewan grabbed a lock of hair and gave it a tug.
I'm not going to take up acting again so I can play a tree.
Aww. Bet you'd make such a great tree. You'd be the best tree. He leaned down to rest his forehead against mine, an impossibly tender smile on his face. One I really wasn't used to seeing him wear.
Thank you, Nora.
I smiled, closing my eyes. I should be the one thanking you. I don't know how any of this would have turned out without you.
At the very least, it would have gone a bit smoother if I hadn't rushed in like an idiot, forcing you to rescue 2 morons instead of just 1.
But then I wouldn't have gotten the chance to kiss you awake.
Yeah. I heard you were actually kind of annoyed by that. And that it wasn't totally necessary.
Well, Brenna did trick me into it. But it wasn't too bad getting to play the role of the prince.
Don't get used to it. It's not a role I intend to give up again.
Is this where we ride off into the sunset on your faithful steed?
Not quite yet. There's always one part that comes before that.
Damn, this is so romantic. I am big fan of this. Yeah! Lovely. On the bike! Woo! That is a great smooch. Big fan. Big fan. He leaned down and gently pressed his lips against mine. I wrapped my arms around him and held him tight. Finally, no more interruptions. Whatever came next didn't matter. I wasn't afraid anymore, because whatever it was, neither of us would have to face it alone. Everything had been crazy since we came back. Crazy, scary, and amazing. This was my life now, and I was actually fine with that. It might not exactly be ever after, but it was still pretty okay. Man, that was such a quick resolving of all that shenanigans. I mean, it was a very romantic resolution. Whew. But I'm like, oh man, I wanted like a little bit more with everybody. We spent so much time with so many different people in this route, which was fabulous. I loved it. I would have loved to have seen like Drayson and Spencer kind of starting to become friends after the weirdness that was Drayson pretending to be Nora. Maybe I'll get that in like one of the friendship endings. But yeah, I'm curious because they kind of, I don't know, it brushed over a little bit about the parents. Like, we didn't really get a straight answer as to, did Velos or somebody erase their memories, or did Grandpa's health condition coincide with them disappearing? I still feel like the parents would have freaked out because they didn't get any response from their kids for a couple of days, though, so surely they did have their memories erased. So I just wish there was like a little bit more time spent on like wrap up. But otherwise, this route was fabulous. It was very well paced. The resolving of things was really well done. I loved that, you know, the twins figured out their shit, got close again. I'm always a huge fan of that. Spencer wasn't too much of a jerk. That did take a long time, finding out what was going on with Spencer. Like, it went on and on and on, and then all of a sudden it was like, alright, this is what's happening, and we're in Fairy now. That jump was a little bit fast, but everything else was like very well paced. And Ewan and Nora are a great couple together. They're basically two peas in a pod. They got the same sass and that same kind of sense of humor. I don't know. I don't really know how to put it, but they're very well suited for each other. I would love if they would both like get into acting together. Oh, and I'm sad that we didn't get to see Dad one more time, too, at the end. And that Dad and Nora's mom didn't meet. That would have been a match made in heaven. I would have loved to have seen them just goo goo gaga over their kids. Would have been fabulous. I'm just glad that we finally got that smooch at the end. I can die happy. That was a nice surprise too, that like, well, I'm gonna save your head from rolling off of you by smooching you. Ha ha ha. Best plan ever. So we actually got 2 CGs with Ewan, which is great. Alright, let's see what that ending was called. Endings. Ewan, my boy. As you can see, 2 pages. None is left to protest. Big fan of that ending name as well. So, as you can see by the numbers, we have 12. 12 more endings. This must be, you know, the friendship ending. I don't know if we'll get 2. We got 2 with William, which was a really nice surprise. But a definite 1, so that means 10, potentially 10 to 11 bad endings. We got a lot of work to do with that. It's gonna be a time and a half. Oi, 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 oi. How many of the pictures did we get for Ewan? I'm just missing 1. Okay, so there's 1 hidden CG somewhere. I really wish we had had more pictures with this beautiful boy. He's too gorgeous to not have more CGs. But anyway, guys, that is the end of Ewan's route. Our final root boy. I hope you guys enjoyed him as much as I did. I loved him. I've got so much thinking to do about route orders and stuff, and yeah, just putting my list together for the review for this game is going to be a bit of a difficulty because I love all of them for different reasons. I think I have at least 2, possibly 3 or 4 lists I'm gonna have to make up for this game for various things, so yeah. Should be fun. If you guys already know your list, feel free to comment them down below, or you can hold on to them and wait for my review, and then we can discuss our lists and differences together. But either way, hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully I'll see you for many, many bad endings to come. Or at least the friendship ending if you like good endings. But yeah, that's it for me for right now. Until next time, I will see you later.